Hey, what's up? It's Rolando here. What I wanted to do is I wanted to show you how to prepare beeswax for encaustic painting. I have to mix beeswax with damar resin. I usually like to mix it about 7 to 1. So I'll show you how to do that. I used to um, I used to just eyeball it, um, dividing the block visually and just adding it. It worked okay, but what I wanted to do is to make it consistent throughout the board because I'm doing a lot of encaustic painting, and I might as well make it consistent by measuring it 7 to 1. I'm using 7 to 1 as opposed to 8 to 1, just to give it a little bit more a slight hardness into the painting because I use a different substrate to create my encaustic painting. Um, yeah, this is the amount of resin that I need to uh, it's the right proportion for that block of beeswax. It's 7 to 1, and I'm ready to melt it in. Here I'm using a hot plate. I got it at the thrift store. It's relatively cheap, and I just put the entire block into the hot plate. It's set at around I set it around 200 to 220 degrees Celsius. I think the melting point of the Mar resin it's around 180 or something, just slightly higher. But don't let the beeswax smoke. I noticed that the fumes are not really good for you, even though the beeswax itself is not toxic. The fumes can be overwhelming. You notice I'm setting up the hot wax, setting up an caustic table outside, outdoors. It gives it a proper ventilation, safety, and here I'm on the way to mixing the beeswax. So this took about an hour, and about 3 or 4 times of mixing the beeswax. Here is starting to melt, and I have to make sure that the resin is completely saturated into the beeswax by scraping the bottom with a silicone spatula there. Here I'm using a strainer to strain some of the residue left over from the damar resin. The damar resin contains some bark and some residue from the acacia tree. So I'm just straining big pieces that are that's visual. It doesn't have to be perfect. I could just take some large pieces off that are somewhat annoying, but it doesn't have to be perfect. I mean, I can't get it all out. I guess I could use other strainers to get it all out, but you know, no big deal. Here is a flexible muffin tray. I like to use these because it's so easy to work with. I used to use a metal tray, and I can't get it. I can't get the beeswax off that easily. This one, I put it all in, let it harden, and it's so easy to work with. So easy. And here it is. Yeah, this is it's still melted and it's just fresh off the hot plate, and we're just gonna wait. So while that's hardening, I wanted to show you some samples of encaustic painting. I really like encaustic painting because you can achieve these kind of texture. The movement is spontaneous look, the contrast, and the intensity of the pigments. Here is a sample of some portraits I've done. I use my father's negatives as my reference. It's a series that I've done called here is a vase that I've done. As you can see, it's just a really nice, spontaneous uh, style of painting using the encaustic. It's kind of tricky to blend encaustic. You need a lot of trays, a lot of brushes because they get contaminated too easily with other colors. Here's another example, another technique of encaustic. Uh, with the textures and the contrast. Another technique that I use is using the razor blade. Just scrape off some excess wax to have that effect. You can see the canvas right through the background there. Here it is. It's already been hardened. It's only been about an hour. Because the muffin tray is flexible, it could just easily come out. I used to use the metal muffin tray, and it was so hard to take it out. I had to bang the tray onto the table just to get it out. Even that took me a long time. With this flexible, I think it's a silicone muffin tray I got from the thrift store. It's about $2-3 or something. Just squeeze the back, out it goes. There it is. Looks yummy actually. Anyways, thank you for watching. Um, if you like it, yeah, let me know, and send me some love by subscribing. So perhaps in the future I could make more of these. Maybe I'll try to do some demo using Encaustic. Thank you.